With the release of version 2.2, it's fair to expect there to be a lot of hype surrounding our new limited 5-star Cantarella, but arguably there's even more interest towards the brand new variant of Rover, as every player does have access to them after the 2.2 main story. Just like both Spectra and Havoc variations, Aero Rover holds incredible value, and especially since unlike their previous forms, version 2.2 is providing players with a free 5-star weapon designed for Aero Rover. So of course players will definitely be looking to invest within the new Rover, and more so since Rover is likely already leveled up due to their previous forms. So with that, I'll be going through Aero Rover's kit breakdown, team synergies you may want to consider, viable echo builds, weapons that can be utilized, and then I'll be wrapping it up with Aero Rover's overall value. Just before we jump into it, as always, would really appreciate it if you could subscribe for more WutheringWaves content, and just a quick word from our sponsor. LD Shop is a safe and reliable game top-up platform that allows you to pick up in-game currency within numerous games for a discounted price, such as WutheringWaves, which can provide up to 18% off on selected items. So if you are thinking about picking up some Lunite or even just renewing your Lunite subscription, then you may as well pick it up from LD Shop and save some money. First, you will need your game account to be linked to your email address if it's not already, which can be done through the account center, and once that's done, head to the website and all you do is click on top up, then your preferred payment method, fill out your game account details, and in a couple of minutes it will hit your account. Also, the double top up bonus will be provided even when going through LD Shop, so you aren't missing out, and as of now, new users are eligible for a 10% off coupon, and if you do go through my referral link, an additional 5% off coupon that can save you up to a max of $50. Lastly, it's worth mentioning for those that do spend over $80 will gain a VIP membership that provides a free 30-day Lunite subscription. So again, if you are looking for a quick and safe way to pick up discounted game currency, be sure to check out LD Shop through the link in the description. Now, Aero Rover is essentially a support character that deals enough damage to even be considered and utilized as a sub-DPS. In specific, Rover is able to heal all allies, specializes in converting debuffs into aero erosion stacks, deals multiple mid-air combos, technically can amplify aero damage of all allies, and last but not least, has insane long-term value. With the Forte circuits in particular, Rover can hold up to 120 wind strings and can accumulate 25 whenever they activate the mid-air attack Cloudburst Dance, 20 wind strings through the intro skill, and 10 wind strings each from basic attack 3 and 4 along with dodge counters. The Cloudburst Dance attack is a 2-hit follow-up combo in mid-air, dealing aero damage and heals all allies with each attack, which can be activated when pressing the normal attack right after casting the standard resonant skill Awakening Gale, or after the intro skill or the heavy attack Razor Wind. So pretty much right after the intro skill and Cloudburst Dance attack providing 20 wind strings, you would need to accumulate 100 more wind strings in order to completely max the Forte gauge, which will be important in order to access Rover's enhanced resonant skill. Now, with the standard resonant skill in specific, there are two separate casts. Activating the first and pressing the basic attack will lead to triggering a Cloudburst Dance attack, as I just mentioned. However, if you were to activate the second cast whilst in mid-air after the first cast, Rover will deal aero damage and remove all stacks of Spectral Frazzle, Havoc Bane, Fusion Burst, Glacial Shave, and Electric Flare from target, and inflict 1 stack of aero erosion for each stack removed. So this would be leading back to the point that Aero Rover holds an immense amount of long-term value and will keep getting better with time, simply due to the fact that there will be a lot of characters releasing soon that can inflict these debuffs. So even though Rover does end up converting every debuff into only aero erosion, it still does mean Rover can synergize with many other characters and allows for there to be much more flexibility for future team compositions. Now, alongside the standard resonant skill, as mentioned, Rover does have access to an enhanced resonant skill and is able to deal quite a lot of damage for a support. Once Rover has reached a max of 120 wind strings, the resonant skill Awakening Gale becomes resonant skill Unbound Flow. On activation, Rover performs 2 consecutive attacks, being considered as resonant skill damage, and with each attack consuming 60 wind strings. Though if you were to switch to another character just after casting the first stage attack, attack, Rover remains on the field to trigger the second stage attack automatically. So the enhanced resonance skill does have some off-field capabilities that can speed up the team's rotation, given the animation for the ability does take up a bit of time and could be the difference between you obtaining more points in Whimpering Wastes. Now, Aero Rover's Liberation will be capable of dealing solid aero damage alongside healing the entire team. So especially since Rover's signature weapon does have an energy regen main stat, it will allow Rover to heal quite frequently and by a considerable amount when paired with the inherent skill, since the first inherent skill will increase healing from Rover's Liberation by 20%, which is essentially the same inherent skill multiplier that both Cantarella and Brant have within their kits. So alongside both Cantarella and Brant being quite reliable healers, Aero Rover is definitely considered just as reliable and would be a solid alternative to some premium options. Now, just finishing it off with the intro and outro abilities, the intro as mentioned can be chained into a Cloudburst dance attack, but when paired with the inherent skill will also increase Rover's attack by 20% for 10 seconds. So with Rover's combos, enhanced resonance skill and ultimate being dealt alongside a 20% attack bonus, it does again allow Rover to be capable of dealing considerable damage for a support. Lastly, as for the outro skill, Rover will grant Aeolian Realm to all allies in the team for 30 seconds, which essentially increases the max stacks of aero erosion the targets can receive by an additional 3 stacks. Now currently, this outro skill is pretty useless as there is no character that can straight up inflict aero erosion or that would benefit from more stacks, though when we do have a character that will be able to, which I believe will be very soon, the outro skill would of course then be much more valuable. But in general, aero erosion being pretty much like Spectral Frazzle means enemies will take even more damage over time from the increased amount of stacks. Now, just before I move on to Rover's team synergies, it will make a lot more sense if we go over the signature weapon first. Again, this weapon is completely free through completing the 2.2 main story and does provide insane value to Aero Rover. The Blood Pact Edge has a base stat of 38.8% energy regen, which is perfect for Rover to pop their Liberation more often, leading to frequent heals for the team. Then with the passive and max refinement, when Rover provides healing, it will increase resonant skill damage by 26% for 6 seconds, and when Rover casts the enhanced resonant skill, aero damage dealt by allies on the field is amplified by 26% for 30 seconds. So not only will the signature enable Rover to deal a lot more damage, but pretty much allows them to synergize with literally any aero DPS, considering the weapon provides an aero damage amplification that is even higher than certain outro skill multipliers. Of course, the weapon's passive being completely restricted to Aero Rover is a downside, but at least every player does have access to Aero Rover and to the free signature weapon. Now, the signature is clearly tailored for Aero Rover to be a support and specifically for aero characters, but since Rover does have considerable damage dealing capabilities, it means you can opt to use weapons such as the Blazing Brilliance to further increase the resonant skill damage and crit value, or the Emerald of Genesis again for the extra crit value, and especially since Rover can fully utilize the passive with having 2 casts of the resonant skill. However, I do assume most players will just be sticking with Rover's signature weapon as they are tailored to be a support. So now with the signature weapon taken into consideration, Rover will be able to synergize with aero characters such as Yang, Jiyan, Alto, and most importantly, Jiyan. As of now, Jiyan is the only premium aero character in the game and was in fact the very first premium character to release. But now with the arrival of Aero Rover, you can slot them into the support role to amplify Jiyan's aero damage by 26%, alongside having either Mortophy amplifying Jiyan's heavy attack damage by 38%, or Alto further amplifying Jiyan's aero damage by an additional 23%. So especially for those that are missing either the Shorekeeper or Verena and do utilize Jiyan within one of their main teams, Aero Rover is going to be perfect since they will slide right into the support role and will synergize extremely well with Jiyan. However, even if you are currently using Verena within Jiyan's team, the fact that Rover provides a 26% damage amplification opposed to Verena's 15% amplification really goes to show Aero Rover holds quite a lot of value as an aero support. Now, another synergy would rely on manipulating Rover's resonant skill that can convert debuffs into stacks of aero erosion. The only other character that currently inflicts debuffs aside from Rover is Phoebe, and so with that, the ton of Spectral Frazzle stacks Phoebe inflicts being converted into Aero Erosion stacks would allow her to synergize quite well with Rover. With that said, as I mentioned earlier, there are no characters in specific that will benefit from stacks of Aero Erosion being inflicted onto enemies. Although there is the new Aero Echo set that can provide some value for Aero characters in specific, since Aero Erosion being inflicted on enemies would lead to allies receiving an Aero damage bonus of 15%, which means the Aero stacks Rover converts from other debuffs will lead to an Aero damage increase for the entire team. However, aside from the Echo set, currently there are no characters that would directly benefit from Aero Erosion, but that will definitely cease to be the case very soon and will link to Rover's potential future best team. It's not confirmed, but I do believe Cartesia will be the new Aero main DPS powerhouse, and beside her, Yinlin's long-lost sister will be the sub DPS and Aero Rover would be the support. With Cartesia in specific, I am banking on her damage scaling of the amount of Aero Erosion stacks an enemy would have, which would lead to Rover's outro skill and resonance skill to be much more valuable and having true purpose. Also, since if you don't have Chiokona on the team, which will likely outright inflict Aero Erosion, Phoebe as the sub DPS instead, providing tons of Spectral Frazzle to then be converted into Aero Erosion would be a great alternative. So with that, those would be some compositions we can build currently and in the close future. But without a doubt, there will be many more compositions that can be built simply due to Rover's resonance skill converting every debuff into Aero Erosion. Also, if you are specifically lacking support characters, then you can obviously slot Rover into pretty much any composition to simply heal the team along with dealing considerable damage. Now moving on to the Echo builds, as I just mentioned, we have received a brand new Aero Echo set within 2.2. The Gust of Welkin 2-piece effect increases Aero damage by 10%, and with the 5-piece effect, inflicting Aero Erosion on enemies increases Aero damage for all resonators by 15%, alongside the resonator triggering this effect receiving an additional 15% for 20 seconds. So Rover can definitely utilize this set, but currently only when alongside Phoebe, since again she is the only character aside from Rover that can inflict debuffs. Of course, later on, when more characters that can inflict debuffs release, the set will be much easier for Rover to utilize. But I also do believe this set might be best for the sub DPS of Cartesia's team, and so with that, Aero Rover might want to utilize the Rejuvenating Glow set long term, given it allows Rover to heal even more and provide a 15% attack bonus to the entire team for 30 seconds. Even for those that intend to utilize Rover as a support for any other team and don't have Phoebe in particular, the Rejuvenating Glow set without a doubt will be the best set to run. Lastly, another alternative set worth mentioning would be the classic Sierra Gale set, but specifically for those that are utilizing Rover more for their DPS. Now in terms of Echo stat priority, either crit rate or crit damage would be solid for the 4-cost Echo, but healing bonus is also an option for more heals and if you already have a good crit ratio. Aero damage bonus or energy regen would be the best main stats for 3-cost Echoes, and then with the 1-cost Echoes, attack percent would be essential for more damage and since Rover's healing scales off attack. As for substats, once again, since Rover is going to be able to deal considerable damage, crit rate and crit damage would then be priority, following with resonant skill damage, energy regen, and attack percent. Overall, Aero Rover is an amazing character, and especially due to their signature weapon allowing them to be a great dedicated aero support. However, as of version 2.2, Rover isn't really used to their max potential and can only be utilized within a few teams, of course outside of just being used as a general healer. So as I did mention, Rover will be getting better with time and will possibly be at their best with the release of Cartesia, which means unless you do need a third support or have characters such as Jiyan or Phoebe to take advantage of Rover's kit, then there really is no rush to invest in them unless you do just want to play with them. Though all in all, considering that Rover can synergize with every debuff character from here on out just means that they will have immense longevity, and lastly, with the simple fact that Aero Rover is a reliable healer like Cantarella and Brant, it means that Rover will definitely be worth the investment for a lot of players. And with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe for more WutheringWaves content, and if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Also drop a comment down below on your thoughts on Aero Rover, and will you be building them right away or maybe later on? And yeah, hope to catch you guys later.